Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing good. I'm going to turn the air down just a little bit. I'm in the Poconos with Chris and Neon, and they are right now going up a ski lift for the view, which I think is wonderful. But as I may have mentioned before, I'm a little afraid of heights. So I thought I'd stay behind and talk to you guys. I hope you're doing great. And today I want to talk to you about signs. I think first we have to agree that they're all around us, even when we don't pick them up, and that loved ones and spirit guides are always by our sides. We never walk alone. When I offer a reading, I usually suggest that if you've lost a loved one recently, to give it some time. There is this transition period between this world and the afterlife. And I'm not saying that it's longer for others, but I usually like to give it a couple months, unless they're children, because something about the innocence of children, I can't explain it. I just know that they usually come in almost right away. And I have a tendency to ask, are you already getting signs from them? And more often than not, I get absolutely. Yeah, they're letting themselves be known all the time. So for others, I recommend maybe 2 or 3 months, just so that your experience is more likely to be the best it can be. Because sometimes if somebody comes in to see me too soon, then they may not be as clear or as strong as they could be. And then, and I know it seems off topic, but it's really not. It's because a lot of people think they should get signs right away, and they often don't. I mean, look at me as a medium. You would think when my mom passed, she would be right in there, right? Hey, I'm here. No, she even said, don't look for me right away. I got things to do. I totally believe her. It took 4 years before I got a sign that was clear as day. Well, I'll share it with you. My mom was gone about 4 years, and I was going through some financial hardships, me and my then husband. No, we weren't even married yet, but we were living together. And I was doing web design at the time. I had my own business, and it was a hit or miss type of business, a feast or famine. And at that moment, it was famine. And I said to my husband, I don't know, if I need to go get a full-time job again or if this is going to break. But I was getting a little concerned. And that very day, I got a phone call from someone who referred me to a man in California who had written a book, and he wanted a website done for the book. And he had this big, grandioso marketing plan. It was self-published, and basically said, here's a credit card, I just need this done, so we mapped out a plan, and I got off the phone. I was like, dang, I don't know who did that, but thank you. And I'd walked into my closet, and on the floor, face down, was a photo. And looking down, I could see it said Gloria. That's my mother's name. And I turned it over. I had never seen this photo before. It was my mom as a kid. I've never seen that photo before. And why would it be at the bottom of my closet when all the photos were in boxes that were closed and I hadn't opened them for at least a year? Right? So this manifested from somewhere, but it was eerie. But listen, man, I was so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, so at times like that, when you really need it, I find that they give you the signs the most. But if you're not looking for them, and I don't mean you got to keep your eyes peeled like a shaman, like walking a line in your peripherals, and it's not that way. It's just that there can be really subtle things where you could say, oh, that was a lucky break, and it really wasn't. You've got to look at things that they could have been a sign. And and then there's others that was my mother taking credit for what had happened, and when I was just like, whoever that was, thank you. And then she did that. And after that, she sent a lot of signs. I often got quarters. And usually that was through a tough time. Like when my husband went into the hospital for a heart attack, I got a quarter, and it was like her saying that it's okay, we're here, and that he's going to make it. Don't worry. It's comforting. It's really comforting. And so I still get signs from her, not quite as many, but then again, I don't know that. Maybe I'm not paying attention. So something that I hear a lot is that, like, let's say dad passes and you've got two sisters and one's getting dreams and the other is not. And it's like, I don't understand that. I was his favorite, and it's not having to do with his ability to come through. If he's coming through to one, he's coming through to the other. You may either not be remembering the dream, or you're grieving a little harder and you're at a different stage and you're not ready to receive. Nobody's playing favorites with anyone on the other side. In fact, on the other side, everybody's in even playing field. Even if you had a favorite child here, it's not really like that on the other side. Nobody's better than anybody else. There's no pecking orders, and there is just love. And I think that's why we come down here, because we have to be challenged in the earth school to work out karmas and things like that. Whole different video. But I just want you to understand that some people aren't receiving, or they're not as perceptive, but it doesn't mean the signs aren't there. We're just at a different place in life. And why it took me 4 years to get a sign from my mother, I don't know. I really don't. But I was happy it finally happened. And I was glad it was so blatant, because I could have thought it was somebody else. So they're coming back. I'll have to finish this in a little bit. Hi, I'm back. So it's the next day, and we were in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and the trip itself, I don't know. We weren't thrilled about a lot of things, but we were together and we had a great time. So we were talking about signs. And I think I want to move on to how we get signs. So we're all made up of energy, and I don't really believe that heaven is as far as they say. And I think we can do that communication. So there's a level of this realm and that realm that seems to meet somewhere in the middle. And if we can do that, like I said before, if you're receptive and they can work out sending signs, and you're receptive to receiving the signs, I think that that's part of the battle, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So on this level right here, they come to meet you part of the way, and we also have to practice. And so this is how they manifest. They use energy. They can use energy in the form of electricity and in the form of, draining batteries. They can use in the form of emotional energy. It's just this electric oomph. And when they have those things at their disposal, it is a little easier. But if we are wanting to be more receptive, then we should probably do things to enhance our ability to perceive. When you're in full grief mode, this is very difficult, by the way. And if you hear a rattling, it seems to be my mount. I'm going to make an adjustment to that and see if it helps. So there are things that we can do to make ourselves a little bit more accessible and a little more perceptive. Meditation is the first thing that comes to mind. It's very hard to pay attention to your earth life, especially when things are a little crazy, and that's why I'm talking about grief. But just being too busy, or, being frustrated or stressed, those emotions, I don't know, it's very difficult for us to see through those emotions. Now, if you're in a very spiritual, light place, feeling centered in your mind, body, and spirit, it is definitely a lot easier. So it doesn't mean that they won't send signs during times of stress, because I know that they do, and I've had that firsthand. But there is also a place where you can't really be over the top. So if you happen to be a very spiritual person, you're more likely to get signs, or at least to see the signs. Like I said, they'll send it to anybody, but there's no discrimination there. They love us, for whatever we are, whoever we are. But to get the signs, it does take a certain place we need to be ready. So let's think about it this way. If the veil is just a sheer going across this world and that world, there's this place where we're looking for the holes in the veil. And if you happen to be in the right place at the right time, it's just a frame of mind. It's a frame of spiritual growth. So sometimes getting signs is a happenstance, like the perfect storm. Some people get them all the time. I mean, I think that's just a matter of energy. We're made of energy. We need to change our energy. Okay? So anything that centers you and balances you, mind, body, spirit-wise, is definitely a good thing. Because when your upper chakras, which is your most spiritual self in energy, when that is aligned, even if your lower chakras and your earth life is a little chaotic, that is really the utmost importance. Your life can be chaos, but if you're balanced in your outlook, that's going to make a difference. Sorry, driving is very important. I'm on my way to the office to see a client who is just in town for this week. And anyway, I think that there is no right or wrong answer. All I'm talking about is putting the odds better in your favor. But if nothing else, your spiritual growth is just important as your personal growth. And yeah, we all have some chaos going on here and there, and sometimes constant. But we got to make time. We got to make time to build that spiritual self. Just as important as that personal stuff. I mean, it really is. I mean, our soul knows the truth, but our humanness doesn't. We're not supposed to. But we can be on a journey of discovery. So that's very important. I mean, I was going to say, how important is it? It's very important. So do those things. Your loved ones want you to do those things. Your spirit guides wants you to do those things. And then your receptors will be a little bit more on point. But don't get crazy because somebody else is getting signs. Nobody's playing favorites. You are loved and you're blessed, no matter what. So signs come in all forms, and I feel they're kind of personal to you. Like the same loved one can show one family member cardinals all over the backyard. The other family members don't see it. But another one finds a coin, the same coin, sometimes in the same place. That's significant. You have to decide what's significant for you by paying attention. Sometimes It's just a coin. But there's a feeling. You've got to go with your gut. Was this a sign? I find signs more often when I am stressed. As if it is a message to say everything's okay and you're not alone. When I'm feeling like dumb, fat, and happy, I don't know, I don't seem to get as many signs. I still get them, but it might just be that I'm not paying attention as much. When you're stressed, you're just sort of like got your hands up in the air going, somebody save me, and they just want you to know you're not alone. Sometimes you're not going to be saved because, your own job is to get out of certain things and challenges that you're supposed to overcome. Doesn't mean you're alone, It just means that it's part of a life lesson. Most hardships are about life lessons. And they're still here to watch you grow. And a loved one cannot interfere with something that was predetermined before birth. But they can whisper in your ear kind of to inspire you, which could avoid certain issues, So it's really good going with your gut. Whether it's a sign or not, it's very important just to know that you have metaphysical influences. Metaphysical means, meta is Greek for outside or out of, and physical. So outside the physical body, that's what metaphysical means. So anything that's not tangible will be metaphysical. Anyway, I'm digressing, which, I do. So I'd love to know if you have signs that you get. Go ahead and comment below. I read all your comments and, share with other people that way too. Let's compare some notes. And if you're new to my channel's pretty new, so you might be, please consider liking and subscribing if you like the content and want to see more. And also, after you subscribe, hit that bell button right next to it and turn it black, so that way you're getting notifications when I have new content. Right now I'm uploading once a week, but that will change over time. Just got a lot on the plate right now, a lot of things to think about what I want to present to you. It's another thing you can do. If there's topics that you would like me to cover and I have enough knowledge about them, please let me know. That would be another way to interact with my comments. And engagement's also important. Comments might be more important than the likes could be. But, do it all for me. I'm not saying pick one. I appreciate you helping me help the channel grow. That way we can do more. Okay, with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. Feel blessed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.